Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And oh, look at that smiling person here. Let me tell you, this nice lady here, LYNNEA Benson, she has not one, not two, but 3 films listed on her IMDb page. And those include I Was a Teenage Zombie, Blood Sisters, and the unforgettable Bad Girls Dormitory. Yes, it was the 1980s. But she found out there was more to life, artistic life, for Ms. Benson than just playing, hookers and victims. So, I know, because that's what I played before I became a rabbi. She was studying at the Actors Studio 30 years ago, when she and her husband, Ted Zurkowski, helped co-found a theater company called the Frog and Peach Theater. She now runs it. She's still married to Ted. He's got a musical that he's written that you are directing. So we're going to talk about all that, all about your career, all, of course, about zombies and hookers, too. Please welcome to the neighborhood, LYNNEA Benson. Shalom, LYNNEA!
Shalom, everybody. Hi. Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, very delighted to have you in this post-Passover, pre-Shavuos program that we're doing here. So, first of all, let's get the plug in, as the proctologist would say. So, your husband's show is called 3 Women, not to be confused with Edward Albee's 3 Tall Women or Robert Altman's 3 Women. This is a very different thing. So, what is it? Where is it? Tell us about it, please. You're frozen. Hello?
No?
You're back.
Better?
You're
Back? Okay. 3 Women is a country western musical, an original country western musical. It features songs more in the vein of Waylon Jennings and Merle Haggard and Tammy Wynette than the more current kind of Nashville sound. It's about a man named Billy who's a successful artist who is on the road for 50 weeks a year with his band. And when he gets back to town, he, of course, is madly in love with his wife. But he also has some other interests in Nashville. There's a lovely recent divorcee and a woman who survived some substantial abuse and got a whopping big settlement out of her husband and bought a horse farm. She's Billy's mistress. Her name is Lady. It also stars Ruby, a diner waitress, an all-night cafe waitress, who is also one of Billy's projects, as we say. And we get a peek inside of the family, and that explains some of Billy's, what my grandma would call, zipper problem.
Indeed.
With the wonderful Elizabeth Ruth Maldonado and Steve Taylor as the parents, and the wonderful Desmond Still as dad, and our own Desmond Still, who just recently played Macbeth, as his brother Jake. And I should mention the other ladies too. Gina Simone plays his wife, Bonnie. Kaylin Bueller plays his lady with the horse farm.
Yeah.
And yes, she has a horse farm. Yeah. And the girl on the cafe.
I do apologize
And
to
it
the
all
viewers.
goes down.
We got frozen there for a moment there, but you got most of the names out. And Ted Zurkowski himself is playing the lead role. So he kind of wrote it and he's playing it, yes? Shalom. Oh boy.
That's raising now too. This all goes down at Theater for the New City, the exciting Lower East Side arts hub at 155 First Avenue. Tickets are very affordable. It's at the Johnson Theater, and that's their biggest space. And we're really planning for a real down and dirty hootenanny.
Now, LYNNEA Benson is not kidding about this. I was looking, I almost thought it was a typo. I looked at the cost of tickets for this musical with a cast of about half a dozen or more people in it, and regular ticket prices for this show are $20. If you're old like me, or you're a student or something, or you have maybe hooks on your hands, it's only 15. You're an artistic director of a theater company, you're renting, or maybe you're co-partnering on this project with Theater for the New City. How do you put on a musical and charge only $20 for tickets?
Listen, as we mentioned before, Frog and Peach is really founded on the idea that theater's for everybody, whatever the background, whatever their ethnicity, whatever their income, it doesn't matter. We're devoted to our audience, and we have a good record of bringing sort of atypical theater goers into the mix. When we were talking with Theater for the New City to move forward with this project, they agreed, and we sort of share that same commitment to the community, and we found a way to do it. And
I mean, are you mostly grant funded? I mean, where does the money come from to pay? I mean, let's say you're getting the space for free, which I assume TNC is giving you. What about costumes? What about everything else? Lighting designer, all of that.
Since we've been around for 30 years, I'll have to answer the costume question first. We have quite a collection, and so we're able to draw from that. Also, we're very grateful for funding from New York City's Department of Cultural Affairs. We also have a dedicated fan base that, bear in mind, we serve poor people, and we're always looking for a champion, but we do have a enviable list of monthly subscribers who pitch in just $3, $10 a month, and it ends up being quite a tidy sum for us and a nice tax deduction for them too.
Oh, yeah, of course, don't forget that. Yes, I mean, I'm Jewish. I wouldn't forget taxes, but you might.
You're Jewish?
Yeah, putatively, but what
Rabbi,
about you?
I thought we were friends.
Oh, please don't tell me you're part of the liberal artistic community that hates Jews now and despises Israel.
I
Because
thought
this
you would-
conversation will go nowhere after that.
I always wanted to be Jewish since I saw Zero Mistel in The Producers. I said, I want to do that.
I thought you were going to say Fiddler, but in The Producers, yes again.
Yes.
So what are you? Were you
idol.
Catholic? What were you raised as, or were you atheistic from the get-go?
I'm an escapee from the evangelical movement in Seattle, Washington. Yes, and it's quite, it's been a distressing 10 years watching, because I don't think most people understand the charismatic or evangelical movement, but I was never crazy about it, and people ask, why would you move from such a beautiful place as Seattle to New York? And I said, because my family lives there. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you still? I mean, are your parents still above ground?
No.
Or, no.
No.
But did that schism permanently damn? Like you got along-ish? You just didn't bring up religion, or what?
My mother was murdered when I was 15 by my father.
Okay, I'm sorry, I had no.
That's okay. No, that's okay. But I got a full scholarship to Barnard College, and I came here, and I never looked back.
I'm sorry not to let this drop, but it's such a fascinating. I think, did your father die in prison? I mean, what happened to him?
No, and in fact, he was never charged or anything. And everyone just assumed that he'd killed her, but nobody did anything.
Good for you for getting away from. I mean, did you completely have all cut off ties with him after that, or did you keep in touch until?
Actually, he stalked me for a while. This is really silly. We don't have to talk about this, but
It's fascinating.
I'm safe now.
Yeah.
My husband's been through it, and he's been a very strong advocate for women and girls, and he has a deep understanding of
Yeah,
what
no,
we
I
both
thought
had
these were going to be
symptoms.
simple questions about family and going to church a couple of times, and then whoa, jeepers.
Rabbi, you asked,
I
what
know.
am I
I
supposed to?
thank you for answering. I didn't
It's
mean to bring up.
okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, but also, yes, we're talking about theater, but when something interesting comes up, I have to go there. So, how
Sure.
did you meet Ted? Just at the Actors Studio?
No, we met at a bar near Columbia University where I was at
Oh,
Barnard.
Barnyard,
Yes,
of course. Yes, yes.
and he he said something, and I said something back, and he said something back, and we've been together ever since.
And this is 30 something years we're talking about now.
Long time.
Okay, we never we never divulge a couple's age for whatever reason. So where is it, since you are married to this man and you also
Mm.
direct his work and say
Hmm.
there's is that a lot over all those years that you do everything together, or do you have
No,
some?
no, not at all. Um, Sometime after, let me see. I think in terms of productions, not years. I think it was sometime after Richard II. Ted was like, I really need a break and to pursue my music, and I was like, that's fine. And so he did, and had some great success with the band Honey West, which he formed with Ian MacDonald. And if you don't know who Ian MacDonald is, he was a founding member of King Crimson and Foreigner. And I sort of brought them together, but it's just incidents that they got along and loved writing music together. Um, and I went on being artistic director at Frog and Peach,
Is that your
which
full
is
time gig? I mean, is that what you're able to do, or not just at this stage of your life, but 25, 30, 30 something years ago? Or did you supplement it with voiceover work, or how did you get along?
I taught English as a second language. I waited on tables. I did edits of Shakespeare's plays for other groups. Excuse me.
Do you have
Bob,
it?
sweetheart.
How? All right.
Bob.
Do you have a little thing there, or is she
Salon.
27 years old? Who is that?
She's four. I have four cats, and one is very vocal and very jealous. Um, anyway, but currently I'm lead teaching artist at Frog and Peach's Arts Ed program, which goes to group homes, residential homes for people with serious mental health issues, formerly homeless folks, and their children too. It's a very rewarding part of what we do, and we serve maybe 300 people a month
Oh,
with visual arts classes and Shakespeare and method acting classes and film studies, and it's a real joy.
now speaking of children, the Frog and Peach Theater Company also has a thing that you do specifically for. Kim, was it? It's a Tinkerbell thing, right? What is that?
Yes, Tinkerbell Theater. I don't know if you remember the stock market crash. Well, it wasn't the real estate implosion of 2008, 2009.
Oh yeah.
Lots of other companies, some with much greater resources than Frog and Peach, just closed up shop. They just sold off their costumes and went back to their day jobs. Frog and Peach saw a need, and we were located at the time on at a church on 86th and West End Avenue, and we thought there are so many families suffering right now. Let's do some children's theater. Why not? So I wrote the scripts. Teddy wrote the music. And we performed 25-minute long fairy tales with music. Very funny, very subversive, shall we
Ooh.
say, fairy tales. Not your candy coated, not
Oh,
definitely with a New York.
so
And
now I have to ask you: did you ever get any flack from parents who took their kids expecting to see Rapunzel or Beauty and the Beast or whatever, and suddenly they're getting subliminal, subversive messages to their 6-year-olds?
No, no, no. It was the subversive parts probably went over most of the kids' heads, but the adults really enjoyed it. And pretty soon it was strange. I thought there's people in line that don't have children, and there's teenagers in line, and I don't know what they're smoking, and there's college students in line that we had a real crossover hit. And one very smart ASM said, it's the Pee-wee's Playhouse effect. You do something that is for children, and you get all these crossovers, and we were very pleased about that.
It's the Uncle Floyd effect too. It's sort of like, oh,
Exactly.
it's a children's show. It is, but it is.
Wink,
but
wink.
It is.
Yeah.
No, that's one, and you're still doing it. You're still doing.
Yes. After the pandemic, we had a tour for Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Queens, all booked, indoor theaters for May to October 2020. And of course, we had to put that on hold. But after the pandemic, we started performing again, completely free, no admission, at outdoor sites, all through the most underserved neighborhoods in New York. We've got Woodsman Will and Snow White. She's a little bit strident, a little bit too woke. We've got little Rosa Riding Hood, who speaks English and Spanish, and we tell scary stories and have games and interaction. We pull audience members up to be the fairy princess that saves the day. It's a blast. It's a blast. It's more of a sort of an SNL.
Well, now I want to go. Now,
It's really fun.
Yeah. By the way, I also want to
really
see Three Women, the musical. That is playing at Theater for the New City from April 16th to May 3rd. You can get your tickets at theaterforthenewcity.net. So make sure you do that, because it sounds like fun. And I'm not going to say it's unusual for you to do this country western musical, but you do a lot of Shakespeare for
That's right.
Frog and Peach. So,
That's right.
what is the attraction to you as artistic director and co-founder of Shakespeare?
When you say Shakespeare, people automatically get ideas of it's too brainy, not for me. Shakespeare isn't brainy at all, in my opinion. No, he's not. I mean, your teachers maybe told you that, but he's not. He's just as humane and decent as my favorite Rabbi Sol Solomon and my favorite
You don't know me.
performer Zero Mostel. Is just as real and accessible as that. We have audiences as young as 10 or 11. We have audiences who are English language learners. We have audiences who never set foot in a theater before, never read a play, and they emerge sort of startled that they not only understood everything, and we don't modernize the text at all, but they also have...
Do edit? Do you take
we
4
cut.
hours?
We cut.
Yeah.
We do cut. If Shakespeare was writing for a time when there were no intermissions and people wanted their money's worth, so you figure a football game's an hour long technically. But then you have the instant replays, and another character relates what just happened. It's like a soap opera. It's a story you could tell in a minute. They drag it on for 2 years. So we do cut.
Sure, but you keep the language.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask LYNNEA Benson, because I read somewhere, or maybe you saw an interview where you had your mind blown when you encountered Hamlet. That Hamlet was great, of course. What's your second favorite Shakespeare play?
I just finished directing a very lovely production of the Scottish play, and I had a lot of fun doing it, and I loved the actors. Every single actor was just wonderful and game to try anything. And
Hold on, you're frozen for a moment.
gifted with the language, and it was sticks. I'm trying to keep it clean, Rabbi.
I'm just
do I do?
trying to keep it
What do I do?
unfrozen here, yeah. But I got most of that about the Scottish play. And by the way, on this, you can use the word, it's the M word, it's Macbeth. Nothing's bad's going, Just kidding there. Just a little bit
Oh,
of
that's
fun.
very funny.
Thank you,
Oh,
thank you.
listen, I broke my wrist during that, just when we were leading up to that show. And the leading lady had to rip up all her floors due to a plumbing issue. And we thought, well, that must be it. That's it, right? And we were all knocking wood and not whistling backstage and being very, very careful. But we even did a show on Friday the 13th. So
Oh, what? And did somebody actually accidentally say the name and they had to spin around 8 times and run around the theater? Or
actually, yes, yes,
Really?
when we were actually when we were doing a walkthrough at Theater for the New City, my husband said the M word, and I was like, "I'm not taking any chances, baby, outside." He's like, and we made him do the whole thing.
So, one of the other things about looking at the whole history, I mean, 3+ decades of this theater company, I
Yes.
understand how someone who is so involved in, has been on Broadway and in movies, but gets involved also in off Broadway, like Austin Pendleton has done work with you guys.
Estelle Parsons did, yeah, yeah.
All from the Actors Studio, I get that. But you did a couple of things with Fred Willard. Where?
Yes.
How?
He was one of my favorite artists, and we had this production of well, it was a reading really at the Players Club of Hamlet. And I said, I need a mensch, I need an everyman, I need a decent person to play Horatio. Who's more decent than Fred Willard? I don't know of anyone who's more decent. And we had Shirley Knight as Gertrude. We had um,
We're you're totally frozen.
David
Uh,
Mark.
oh, I'm not getting. Shalom.
That
Oh, there we go.
better?
You're back. You're back. Okay.
Okay.
So, who else was in that Hamlet cast? Now let's get back to.
Shirley Knight was Gertrude. Um, uh, Austin Pendleton was Claudius. We had David Margulies, a wonderful
Yeah.
actor, as Polonius, and one of my idols. David was just a real hero to the New York theater scene. And I said, call Fred's agent, see if if there's a chance. And a few minutes later, I got the phone rang, and he said, "Linnea?" And I said, "Yes, is this Fred Willard?" He said, "So tell me, what are your views?" I was like, "Oh my God." I said, "Horatio's a guy you can take anywhere. He's as comfortable with construction workers as he is in a palace. He's a decent, honest man. And I think he'd be perfect." And he agreed.
So when you do a that was a reading, but when you do a full production of Shakespeare, you mentioned that after 30 years you have a trunk full of costumes hidden somewhere, wherever you can keep them. And yes,
Yeah, yeah. More than a trunk full.
where do you have a storage locker, or do you guys have a house somewhere? Or I
We
mean,
have two storage lockers that are about just under a mile from my house, which I have to go to later today, with costumes and prosthetics and set materials and hats and it's a little overwhelming. I always tell the interns, you can tell the door because it's bowed out a little bit. It pooches out. This metal door sort of pooches out because so much stuff is crammed in there.
well, no, but
Um,
it's great that you don't have to rent. You don't have to sew, and you don't have to have a seamstress. I mean, you got it, which is
oh no, we have to. There's new pieces are required for every show, so
oh,
it gets
it
bigger and
makes it
bigger,
easier.
but
But yeah.
it
So
makes it a little bit less expensive. Yeah.
but you now normally when you do Shakespeare, here's the thing: you have ideas about all the characters and the themes of the play. I mean, you just did the M word play, and you connected it thematically to what's going on in the country and so forth. But do you tend to
Sad.
do
It's okay.
what? Do you tend to do Shakespeare quote unquote straight, or do you sometimes go, Shakespeare set in a meat locker in Fort Lee, New Jersey.
I'm sure there's merit in those kind of productions. I wouldn't, but we don't understand. It's not our thing. There's plenty of merit, I'm sure, setting, Hamlet on the planet Mongo.
I've done that.
However,
I've been in that show. Wasn't good.
however,
I was good.
however,
Yeah, yeah.
we want to keep the focus on the language and the acting. There's ways to make Merchant of Venice look like guys and dolls, but that's not our thing. That's
If you see a Jew and he's stealing from you, you can. So let me also ask LYNNEA Benson, who is the artistic director of the, I was going to call it the Three Women Theater Company. It's Frog and Peach, which, by the way,
yeah.
for those people who are not familiar with Beyond the Fringe and Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, do you want to explain where the name came from?
I'd be happy to. We went to a pro bono lawyer to get our articles of incorporation, our 501c3. And we were opening a show just days away. And the lawyer was like, "You got to pick a name. You've got to pick a name. You've got to pick a name." And my husband was like, "Well, I think we go with the Shakespearement." I was like, No. Let me see. I was reading the Times on Uptown Subway #1 train to the theater, and there was Peter Cook's obituary, who of course I knew. And they mentioned the famous sketch about the restaurant with the limited menu. The fried
Only two
peach.
items. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, only 2 items. A young couple without much money could get a really big frog and a damn fine peach. And I thought, that just sounds sinister and funny and memorable. So I ran it past Teddy, and he was like, "That sounds pretty good." I was like, "It does sound pretty good." So that's how Frog and Peach was born.
So, what are some of your, like, one or two of your absolute golden, most cherished memories of being part of this theater, or directing something, or producing? So, like a moment that crystallized everything that you do in a beautiful way.
Um, there's lots. I think the most recent one was we had several students from a community college in, and their teacher, would acknowledge that they were reluctant to come see the Scottish play. And that was fine. We people come in skeptical and they leave Shakespeare fans. That's fine. There's a moment in the recent production of Macbeth where I can see the some of the audience response, and everybody in this they were all in the second row, and everybody in the second row, something happened. I can't tell you what. Pretty R-rated. Everybody in the second row went, hands over their chest, and I thought, yeah, I did a good job.
What I mean, it's pretty alright. There's a stabbing. There was a Broadway Macbeth where the girl was naked. That was kind of fun.
Oh, we've had a nude Macbeth, not this last one though.
Ah, damn it. All right, I'm sorry. Sorry I missed that old one. But let me also ask you, because we haven't really talked about what I led with, that you were you were an actress for a period in the mid-1980s.
Sure.
So you did like 3 B-movie Roger Corman-y kind of things in quick succession. What happened why did you think something was going to build from that, or did you just go, you got into theater, or what?
It's very tough being an actress. I call myself an actor, but when you're a chick, it's difficult. A lot of people say your career's over at 24, and in some cases that's true. However, and I didn't study at the Actors Studio. I'm a lifetime member of the Actors Studio.
Got it. You have the card. It gets you 10% discount on everything, including the pool. But no.
The Actors Studio, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you froze also. You're frozen for the moment.
And I was watching. Oh dear, is that better?
Okay, now we're back.
Am I back
We're back.
yet?
Yeah.
Okay. I teach acting, of course, too. I mean, that's one of my things. And I really thought that I could direct shows. Yeah, why not? I had a very good teacher in high school, and I was very lucky to study with Earl Kelly at Ballard High School in Seattle, Washington, and he didn't mind that I was from one of those evangelical churches. Lovely man. And I thought, what would Mr. Kelly would say? Yeah, fuck, yeah, direct, Linnea. And so I started directing. I directed cabaret shows and little plays, and I've directed evening monologue evenings, things like that. And my husband Ted and I started. We studied with a man named Patrick Tucker at the studio, who was like a visiting brilliant guy, a first folio guy, and we thought, well, damn, why don't we start a theater company? I mean, we planned our own wedding. How hard can, running a Shakespeare company be? And Teddy at the time was in a Horton Foote thing at the Signature Theater with Maureen Stapleton. And it was wonderful. And he was talking to Horton Foote great friends with Horton Foote. And he had time to read off stage, and he was like, I just finished this play. This is the first play we should do. I said, what play is it? He said, King John. I said, I don't know King John that well. It was a barn burner. We did the show completely free, 16 performances, very limited, production values at this abandoned old church loft on 86th in Amsterdam. It was an incredible journey for me and made me very confident. And I would encourage everybody who thinks they might be a pretty good director, whether they're actors now or what. And I acted with the company for many years into our tenure there. I think my last role was in
We're frozen.
2003.
Okay.
I think my last role with Frog and Peach was a production of Macbeth, I think.
Oh
not
no!
new.
Oh no! She's saying, "Oi, point, 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 point." Oi, 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 oi,
Sorry.
oi, oi, oi.
But
So,
I would direct and he would star. He would direct and somebody else would star, or he would direct and I would star. So we found a way of working together that serves us well in Three Women, certainly.
well, you mentioned learning a lot from not even someone at the Actors Studio, but this Kelly guy who was before that. What
Mr.
is
Kelly.
one or two things that you would convey to someone who wanted to go into directing? Like, what is the most important component to you of being a good director?
Understanding an actor's process is very helpful in getting them to do what you want them to do. Actors don't want to look foolish, but they're willing to if you tell them what the payoff is. And the payoff is you're going to have these people eating out of your hand. The payoff is you're going to scare people to death. The payoff is, and once you understand that process and help them access, are you familiar with method acting at all?
I'm little bit. I have my own method, and it scares people, so I don't really tell them.
Mine too. But method, there's nothing about, becoming the character or, going down to the docks to work as a dock worker so you'll be able to play a dock worker. That's just PR. That's not how it is. Really, what you're doing is bringing your own memories, your own sensory experiences to a role. Now, I'll never be a queen, but I know what it feels like to walk into a room and have people stand up. I've never been a murderer, but I've certainly, like all human beings, have fantasized,
And you've had one in your family, so
I've had willing. I've never committed vengeance, but I certainly understand the motives behind vengeance. Three Women certainly goes to the heart of some grievances in this country. It goes to the heart of some masculinity issues that people are finally talking about. It goes to the heart of women's roles and what we get out of relationships and what men demand out of relationships and what what's fair and what isn't. It goes to family conflict, sibling rivalry, things that become an itch that we can't always scratch, and that's sort of our duty as theater
She
people
said
to
duty.
present that in an appetizing and thought-provoking way.
Well, thought-provoking words here from LYNNEA Benson. She is the director of the new blue. It's not a bluegrass. What the music is more like country western or music
Country western. If you
country.
love Merle Haggard, if you love
Willie Nelson, Waylon
Old
Jennings.
Possum, if you love Waylon Jennings, you're gonna love this show.
Oh boy, it's called Three Women, and it is playing at the Theater for the New City. That's over on First Avenue and Ninth Street, starting on April 16th and running through May 3rd. And I'm going to tell you this again at theaterforthenewcity.net. Tickets are you can pay more if you want to, but you don't
Yes.
have to. Tickets are $20. Or if you're on Altacaca like me, only 15. My God, I mean I still find that wonderful and amazing. So my last question for you, LYNNEA Benson, is: you're doing this through you because you're an artistic director. You have the planning down, I'm sure, for the next year or two of what you guys are going to do. So may I ask what shows are coming down the pike?
I don't want to get in trouble, but a lot depends on what happens in America. You know, our previous show previous to Macbeth was Taming of the Shrew, which is a delightful sort of beautiful cupcake of a show comedy, which everybody loves, and it we struggle to audiences love comedies. Well, they should, but we had to say something about the current situation in with the Scottish play. I don't know, Coriolanus. I've always wanted to do that play. Hamlet again. I'd love to do that play. Merchant of Venice. I would love to do that play again. I did it one time with Austin Pendleton, and it was an ecstatic experience.
So wait,
I was
you're
very
allowed to. I mean, I would figure you would have to know what you're doing in the rest of this year and 2027. But no, soon as this plays over, then you're going to decide what you're doing next.
I have some things in mind, but again, we're subject to the vagaries of
Right.
funding.
Oh,
And there's the rent, and there's costumes, and there's PR, and there's weapons, and Macbeth was a relatively inexpensive way to go because it's very stripped down. There's not a lot of um, effects. You need not a lot of furniture. So I mean, it was a good choice for that too. But we'll see. We'll see.
was it?
We have a terrific group of people, and I think they'll be game to do. We often have leading actors return in the next show as supporting actors, and supporting actors. If you carry a spear for me in Macbeth, you might have a lead in the next show. So we're very egalitarian that way.
Well, it has been, as I said, and I'm trying to do a pun on the word egalitarian. I can't. Although if you have an eagle eye for talent and for caring about the theater and the arts, then you're going to want to see shows by the Frog and Peach Theater Company, especially their current show, Three Women, over at Theater for the New City. LYNNEA Benson, I wish you happiness, health, many, 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 many more years of theater and delicious, juicy peaches and yummy, squiggling frogs. Shalom to you.
Sweet of you. I just want to mention, if folks want to make a donation, they can text.
Yep. You're vocally and visually frozen, LYNNEA. So make a donation. Find Frog and Peach on the web. Google it and make your donations there. So sorry. I couldn't see you or
Thank
hear
you.
you or anything. But shalom to you.
That's okay. That's okay. Thanks for the plug. Shalom. Bye bye.